When I was young, movies that involved body horror scared the hell out of me. I guess I kind of eased into body horror with anime when I was younger since the medium was animated, so I could always tell myself it wasn't real. But as I got older, I really got more into the horror genre as a whole. So to make up for time I had lost not watching those movies when I was younger, I made sure to make up for it as a teen going into adulthood. From some of the films in the Cronenberg catalog with classics like The Fly, to some other body horror classics such as Reanimator, From Beyond, Society, and oh boy, The Thing. I low-key became obsessed with a lot of these movies I missed when I was younger due to how well the practical effects of the past held up back then and still do in this modern era. So imagine my surprise when hearing friends talking about a new body horror movie called The Substance. I knew I had to check this movie out sooner than later, so I went in with low expectations because I hadn't heard about this movie being covered a lot by other bigger reviewers or other outlets, but most people that saw it had nothing but good things to say after. After finally getting an afternoon to check it out for myself with a somewhat small audience in my theater, how was my overall experience with The Substance? Oh, hey, sorry, didn't see you there. I was trying to touch it up because by the time this review comes out, it's going to be Halloween, so I just wanted to kind of get into the mood of things. But hey, welcome back. My name is DatChckenWang as part of the DatChickenWang gang, and I'm here today to give you my thoughts and opinions about director Coralie Farjah's second feature film and a movie that caught me by great surprise. I'm here today to talk to you about The Substance. The Substance tells the story of an aging actress by the name of Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore, and her trying to make it in the entertainment industry over the course of several decades. She had a very successful run early on in her career, with her being the face of her own fitness workout show, similar to the likes of Richard Simmons or Jane Fonda. Her show had been going for years, but coming upon the heels of her 50th birthday, the network exec, played by Dennis Quaid, was actively looking to lay her off and replace her with someone younger that would draw in a newer audience. After an unforeseen accident which involved Elizabeth getting into a vehicular incident, she's starting to come to the realization that maybe her time in the limelight may actually be coming to an end. During her emergency visit, though, she runs into an unnaturally beautiful male nurse who performs a quick checkup on her, then says she's the perfect candidate for something, and silently leaves her with a USB drive. This USB stick introduces her to something called The Substance, and the introductory pitch for The Substance promises a better, younger, a more, finger quotes, perfect version of herself. And thinking it to be some sort of scam early on, she initially throws the thumb drive away, but as she becomes increasingly desperate to hold on to the relevance she still has, she gives the company behind The Substance a call and decides to try it out for herself. Consequences be damned. And what follows is a twisted journey of her new double life she'll be living as both herself and her new and improved self, dubbed Sue. However, she soon realizes that she may have bitten off a bit more than she can chew now that she has to deal with this new her while trying to maintain her life as the older and aging Elizabeth. As the new her and the existing her begin to clash for who is in control, things start to slowly spiral when the substance isn't being used properly, which leads to horrifying results. So, to be honest, this movie runs on a fairly simple premise, but it continues to build and build upon that premise as the movie continues to go. In fact, this is probably something akin to, say, an episode of The Twilight Zone, or even an episode of Black Mirror, but the length of a feature film. And recently I covered Megalopolis. That movie dubs itself as being a fable. And a fable is supposed to be, by definition, a fictitious story that is meant to teach you some type of lesson by the time you're done listening or watching it. And I think the label, a fable, better applies itself to The Substance compared to Megalopolis, because, yeah, this movie definitely has a lot that it wants to talk about. The subject matter around The Substance is strongly rooted in the way we view our bodies, our self-worth, and even leans into body dysmorphia and negative thoughts that come along with it, which is a very real thing that both men and women can experience in their day-to-day. While the younger version of Demi Moore's character Sue doesn't experience this as intensely early on, Elizabeth has multiple opportunities to end the substance experience when realizing things are starting to go wrong, but still constantly resorts to using it to maintain this new image she's built up for herself, thinking things will continue to be fine. So already, we're touching on themes of using unknown procedures to keep oneself looking younger, and possibly even getting so enthralled with continued use that she's turning into something she no longer recognizes. By the time we realize things have gotten beyond our control, it's already too late. I thought this concept was explored beautifully in the movie because even though as I'm watching these people make decisions that literally are having me in the theater like, what are you doing? You're losing the plot. You can't come back from this. I just couldn't help but be on the edge of my seat, especially with how everything looked and the presentation behind the movie. It was just so enthralling. I was pulled in every step of the way, especially with how the world is presented in this movie. Like, it's gorgeous to look at until it's not. The cinematography behind the movie also heavily adds to the sense of losing oneself gradually, as we see wide shots of very beautifully presented scenery, sterile shots to show off clean images of the world that our characters are living in, and also very bright and vibrant shots with an 80s aesthetic to bask in how positively everything is going at the moment. Some of the shots even make use of a familiar room slowly starting to become deeper and deeper as our protagonist slowly starts to dig a deeper hole for themselves as things continue to fall apart. But at the same time, the movie has some twists and turns to show everything is not entirely hopeless, because there are some moments where things actually have a chance to turn around for the better. While a minor character, Fred is someone Elizabeth encounters early on in the movie, and Fred is actually someone who knew Elizabeth before her rise to fame and sees her as the most beautiful woman in the world all these decades later. And no, we're not talking about the new Sue that was part of the substance, but Elizabeth herself, as she was before she started using it. And while I was rooting for Fred in this movie, hoping that they could reconnect, the end result felt all too real and also echoed experiences from friends I know who had been in similar situations. And while this subplot didn't affect me personally, I just found myself being like, damn, as I saw the whole thing play out. And the reason I felt this way was due to the strong performances from pretty much everybody. There is not a single bad performance in this, even from side characters who are just kind of one and done. Like, everyone brought their A game. The performances here are worth the price of admission alone. Demi Moore brought her A game for this, and after being in the business for as long as she has, this was a time where she really just cut loose and threw her all into this movie. Even at her current age, Demi Moore is still a lovely looking woman, so to see what they did with her in the later parts of the movie was actually pretty impressive. Margaret Qualley playing the role of Sue is amazing as well, and really sells her performance as the other self. A young, beautiful starlet that's getting thrown into the limelight way too quickly and frequently, and realizing she may be in over her head having to live this dual lifestyle. But wow, this movie goes above and beyond to show off her sex appeal. So much that they're almost throwing all of her booty in your face constantly when she first hits the scene. But this again is another well thought out part of the movie where we get to revel in how good things are for her until they're suddenly not. Also, having seen one of my favorite movies from last year, Poor Things, I didn't quite remember Margaret being as curvy in that movie as she was for this. Because that first scene with her, like, damn. But after watching interviews with her, it does sound like prosthetics were used to really sell the sex appeal of the character of Sue. And well, they did a really good job there. While also an actor I haven't seen in a movie for a while, we got Dennis Quaid, and he actually really nailed down the whole scummy network executive that's only about getting money, and wanting to get rid of the aging star to replace her with a newer and more attractive version of her. I mean, just about every scene with him feels gross and scummy, especially an early scene where we're just watching him munch down on prawns as the camera zooms into his mouth as he's just chomping down. He was cast to play one of the villains in the movie, and he knocked it way the hell out the park in being that character. So with all this praise I'm giving the movie, is there anything that didn't work for me? In fact, yes, there was one thing, and surprisingly, this is going to be something that people are going to be pretty divided about, I think, but it was the lead up to the finale of the movie. Honestly, while the build up to the finale was great, I didn't entirely like the way it was carried out. As tensions ramp up and leading up to a final confrontation, and as someone's world is literally falling apart around them, we, the audience, are treated to an almost fever dream of a finale where things just get nuts. Without describing what happens in the movie, it felt like the movie became a straight-up comedy in the end. While that does work because this movie is in some parts a dark comedy, the tone of the finale really stands out completely from the rest of the movie, and it kind of lost me, honestly. I'm sure this is where a lot of people will be split, with some viewing it as too weird, some might get the sense of humor, and some people might just be like, what the actual... For as amazing as the movie was up to this point, the last 10-ish minutes threw me off. But again, that's just me. I can totally see some people absolutely loving it. But I was scratching my head when things were getting crazy and really leaning into that exaggerated fable-like territory. You know, it's not often that I go to a theater, sit down, watch a show with an audience, and just watch in amazement as the people are squirming in their seats, just watching things unfold. People looked visibly uncomfortable at some of the grossness that was going on, but that's what made it so fun. And this was for sure enhanced with the use of the practical effects along with some well done CGI to make everything that we were seeing look more believable. And people, including myself, we were just glued to our seats. This was something that we could not take our eyes away from. So I'm honestly glad I didn't read up too much on this movie because I went in with zero expectations and was completely blown away. If you're a fan of horror, body horror, in general, just go check this out because this is going to be one that people are going to be putting on a lot of their top 3 lists of movies of the year. It's already on mine. And by the time this review drops, it should already be on streaming service Mubi. So hey, if you get the chance, definitely go check out The Substance. I had a blast, and I hope you do too. So with all that said, I'm going to give The Substance 10 out of 11 chicken wings. This movie was nearly perfect from top to bottom, though the ending had me scratching my head due to how crazy and how long it went on for. And due to the length of the movie, I probably wouldn't rush to watch it again just yet, but as a first-time viewing experience, this is definitely going down as one of my picks for movie of the year, and something I recommend everyone who's into this type of movie check out at some point. And that's my review for The Substance. Sorry it took so long to get this out there, but if you like what you heard all the way up to this point, hopefully I've earned a like or a sub from you. More videos to come, so I hope to see y'all there. Yo, yo. And take care of yourself.